it's really gotten something like, as far as, well, journalists' lives are being endangered, but also their livelihoods, like you were mentioning, going after that reporter's bank account and her father's, which I don't even understand that overreach. That's bizarre. But you're having it happen here with independent content creators that aren't even necessarily investigative journalists, but simply trying to lift up investigative journalists and their work, and they get demonetized, they get deplatformed, they get censored, and it's been this. Julian Assange, you mentioned earlier, when you first came on, that was a really good point, because it's almost like the draconian way they've approached Julian Assange's, and I will say just public torture, basically, for publishing the truth of war crimes of the empire. For doing that, it's almost like it opened the door for all this, the rest of it, how, set this precedent of how now it's going to be, for, if you have a different view.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we go back to the Iraq War, which I think was probably the last time that dissent was to some degree allowed, right? I mean, everyone remembers the marches on the streets of the UK. We haven't seen that since then. And we also remember, what was it, The War You Don't See, the incredible documentary by John Pilger, where he literally hauled the BBC over the coals. I mean, he managed to get I think it was the then director of the BBC, in the chair in front of him, and he grilled her right over the BBC coverage of Iraq.
Right.
But you would never see something like that now. Never.
No.
If an organization like the BBC reaches out to me, for example, it's purely to be able to do a smear job. It's not to actually hear what I'm saying. It's to hear what I'm saying, to edit it, to criminalize me and smear me and discredit me, and to do what they can to kind of frame my narrative in order to dismiss it. That's what it is. It's not honest reporting. It's not honest journalism, right? And that's what I'm saying. The media now has become nothing more than an extension of intelligence and security of whatever country that they're working in. So therefore, they're working with intelligence and security to promote whatever foreign policy of whatever government is in power. So it doesn't matter if it's Democrat, Republican, they're all pretty much following the same roadmap anyway, just with differing approaches. But they're still, if you look at what Trump did in Syria and what Biden did in Syria, it's exactly the same thing. If you like, from Obama and then Trump basically, for me, was like an economic battering ram in Syria. It was through the Trump administration that the Caesar Act was brought in. It was under the Trump administration that crops were burned, that the oil was occupied and stolen, that Al-Qaeda was given processing rights over that stolen oil in order to produce revenue for Al-Qaeda, a known asset of the US in Syria. And then Biden came in, and within 21 days of his inauguration, he was bombing Syria. So while people kind of say to me, yeah, but Trump didn't really bomb Syria. Well, yeah, but he destroyed Syria. Right. He burned entire swathes of wheat and barley crops. He occupied the oil, and he made it very clear, we're here to take the oil. I mean, the one thing with Trump, he was very upfront. Trump assassinated Soleimani and Mohandas, the leader of the PMU in Iraq, and the PMU in Iraq is the only force that resisted ISIS and prevented ISIS overtaking Baghdad, for example, right? So to say that Trump was any different to any of the others, or that a Republican president is any different to a Democrat president, is nonsense, any more than I would say now there's any difference between Labour and Conservative in the UK. There's no difference.
You know, you've hit it right on the head. We've been having discussions about the fact that there is there's an illusion of a blue team, red team in the USA, right? The blue being Democrats, the red being Republicans, but there's no difference. They're both answering to neocons and neolibs that are wanting war, profiting from war. It's the military industrial complex. It's, you know, people benefiting are like Lockheed Martin, you know, and that's why you see the heads of those, you know, Raytheon, you see them on CSNBC, but they don't even identify. They'll say they're a former State Department, blah blah blah, but they don't say, oh well, and currently I'm working for Raytheon, you know, right? So yeah, I really get what you're saying.